Hello and welcome into the next episode, Friday night episode of Between the Hedges. Thank y'all for tuning in. What's going on tonight? How are y'all?
Hello, hello. Doing good on a Friday night.
What's up?
Ready for another game. No matter if it's going to be you know, a total blowout or what, but it's still another game. And we got some other good games on the docket this weekend too to watch anyway, besides the Georgia game.
Mhm.
Yeah, this one's going to be a snoozer after halftime. At least that's what I
No, it's
hope.
it's not a snoozer. Remember, you only get 12 to 15 of these or so a year. So no matter who they're playing, you got to enjoy it while they're here.
And this year it may be 16 or 17.
Yeah, I guess it could be depending on if you make the championship game, the SEC championship game or not, and how far you go in the playoffs this year.
Mas
You're
Emas
at least going to
football.
get 12. You're at least going to get 12 games. That's all you're guaranteed each season.
Saw Florida's guaranteed.
I don't know, man. They might just end up sneaking up and getting bowl eligible. They got two
They
more
got
chances, Ole Miss
they got
and Florida State. And I tell you, they're probably going to beat Florida State because Florida State sucks.
freaking Citadel could beat Florida State right now.
Oh, you
So
know what? If they beat Florida State, guess what? They're bowling, baby. And I never would have guessed that they would have done that this season. To be
shoot, my high school alma mater can almost beat them.
now, let's not get carried away.
No, no. It go. Mm-mm. No.
They're bad. When you got ukulele out in quarterback, that's free picks.
They're still
That's
college athletes.
meh.
So
Not when you're one and
anyway,
nine.
Georgia, UMass. What are our thoughts? What are our keys to the
Mm,
game? What do you
ask.
want to see?
I will say that the biggest key to this game is staying healthy. This is
Carson
one
Beck.
of this is one of those games where you don't want to see anybody go down, especially after the season full of injuries that we've had. So definitely got to stay healthy, but you want to create a rhythm. You want to be firing on all cylinders in this game. You want to work out any kinks that there are still in the offense, which we've seen go up and down all season. So we want to see that be smooth. And then I want to see the defense just wreak havoc. And what we haven't seen yet, a special teams touchdown. I'd like to see that tomorrow. That'd be kind of nice.
Well, I mean, the way they do things nowadays on special teams, you almost don't ever see that on any game anymore, really.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that was one of the most exciting parts of football, and it's pretty much gone from the game now.
Yeah. I would say for me, it would be the offense. Can we dial down and run
Wow.
through our fundamentals and like stay on P's and Q's with everything and don't make mistakes?
Okay. Gotcha.
What you got for us, Mr. Expert?
Know it
I
all,
just, huh?
Mr. Know It All.
Mr. Know-it-all.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'm just, I'd like to see another turnover-free game to back up the one we just had against Tennessee. Um, and I mean, let's be honest, it's basically just a glorified scrimmage. Our guys face better players when we are practicing during the week, probably than what they'll be up against tomorrow. So hopefully it'll be clean. And I second what you said, Micah. We come out injury free because we got another game to go the regular season next week against Georgia Tech that we cannot afford to lose, and we'll need everybody.
I ain't worried about them.
And get us set up and ready for whatever postseason games we have coming our way then after that. But I just want to see us come out and be crisp on offense and defense. It's going to be hard to get up for UMass coming off the highly emotional game that we just had against Tennessee. But this is one of those games where your talent's just going to overwhelm the opponent. So just play clean and come out injury free, and let's move on to the next weekend.
That's how I feel. And if anybody needs rest for next week, this is the week to do it. Get those guys fully healthy, like ETN, who's been dealing with a rib injury apparently since the Texas game. So,
But yeah, if he's not, even if he is 100%, I don't know that I would play him tomorrow because you're not going to need him. This could be a definite game where you could let some of those freshman running backs that haven't gotten a lot of reps get in there and get a taste of some college football.
And cash.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Now, that brings us to the question, though. What's your guess on the final score or a prediction for the final score? We're
What's
favored by
the
42.5 in this game. Is this a game where we cover or no? Is it the typical Kirby, gets a 30-point lead and starts milking clock and just running up the middle and putting in subs, and it just sort of deflates the rest of the game, or do we come out and just totally blow doors, just for the sake of doing it, and we beat them by 50?
I say we just blow the doors. We
No, I'm
gotta.
saying, what do you think's going to happen? Not,
Oh,
I know
I
what you would do if you were in charge and the head coach. You would put up like 170 on these people.
hell yeah. You
why
come into my
not?
place. You come into my
So I
place.
I
We
know
pay
what
you
you would
to
do. You would
play,
keep your starters in with 10 seconds to go in the fourth quarter and,
and
you
I
know,
would score a touchdown.
score a touchdown. Exactly.
Hmm.
What do you think is going to happen tomorrow? Is what I'm asking. What do you think the
I
final
think
score is going to be?
I think we put 50 on them.
Okay. Yeah.
52 to 7.
So I almost choked. You think they score a touchdown on us?
Hey, garbage time.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Micah? Matthew thinks 52 to
If
7. I'm
not,
gonna write. I'm gonna
it,
write
it,
that down.
if not 52 to
Matthew.
3.
Pick one.
Matthew is 52 to 7. What about Micah? What is Micah thinking?
Yeah. I know how I picked the game, and I'm kind of thinking a little bit more about that, but I guess it's too late. So I'll go with my pick, and I'll say that we win this one and we shut them out 45 nothing.
So we just barely cover, but because our defense doesn't give up a point, we cover.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be like 63 to 6.
Jesus
I,
Christ.
yeah, I think Kirby lets everybody play tomorrow that, get some taste, and he doesn't put the brakes on tomorrow.
That would be a first.
No,
That would
we
be a
did that to
first.
TCU in a national championship. We did it last year to Florida State in the Orange Bowl.
That we had a couple of points to prove though.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The point
yeah.
is that we are as good as you think we are. That's the point tomorrow.
That's been the point in 21 and 22. We haven't seen it since. So
Oh, we've seen it.
not
It's
as
Not like
very,
much.
it's just
21,
very,
not
it's
like
very
21 and
rare.
22. Our defense is not the same.
We just saw it in January, guys. That was 2024 this year against Florida State.
Yeah, true.
But that's
10,
Florida State.
10
Florida State
months
didn't
ago.
have anybody.
So
And also Florida State had a lot of guys that did not play because of the draft.
well, because they're soft and they're weak and they're a poverty school now. So
So anyway, that's are we ready to
Cool. Gotta fix that internet. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
we'll
Well,
give we'll give it a second. I believe he was asking us if we're ready to move on to
mm,
the
the
picks.
picks. Definitely. I want to see how Dad picked because me and you did it in our group chat. So I wonder how Dad's gonna pick if he ever returns. There we go.
what did I lag there?
Big time.
Hmm.
Dang, I wonder what's going on. Let me try to share my screen again. Can y'all see it?
There. Yep. Jesus.
There we go. This
I'm
week,
sick.
super special week. We're doing a 7-pack instead of 6-pack.
I like it. Getting
So,
more for my money.
yeah, exactly. So we've covered the Georgia game already, basically. Georgia favored by 42.5. We all picked UGA to stomp them this week. And like I said, hopefully Kirby allows it. Because we could. I mean, we could easily cover if that's what we set our minds on doing tomorrow. Next game, probably I guess, biggest game of the weekend.
Air quotes.
Ha ha ha. Ohio State hosting Indiana, the surprise Cinderella team, everybody's darling pick for this season. Ohio State's favored by 13.5, and I'm the only one that thinks Ohio State's going to cover that spread. So spill it, guys.
It's your dingus.
What?
No, you're a dingus. No, I picked Indiana because I can never pick Ohio State. I just don't like them. I can't pick them. I know it's at home, but I think Indiana is the more what's the word? Coach coachable team and more disciplined. That's the word, disciplined team over Ohio State. They may have all these receivers and all these running backs and all that, but their quarterback is mid. So he hasn't really proven much of anything this season. So That's why I went with it in Indiana.
And what exactly has Indiana proven this season?
Well, at least they have a coach, and I don't know. I mean, they just I haven't really focused on them that much. This is the first time we're picking them and everything, so I can't really say much in what they have done. But I mean, they're undefeated for a reason, just like
They're undefeated
Oregon
because
is.
their schedule lends to it. There's a couple of teams at the top of the standings that really have not played much anybody, and it's a side effect to um, these super conferences without divisions in them.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's schedule each year is not going to be equal. And we're seeing that play out in front of us. And, you know, our old habits of, oh, somebody's undefeated, so they must be really, really good. Well, yeah, they could be really good, or they could just be taking advantage of a weak schedule.
I mean,
So,
we're about to find out too. So
yeah, I mean, if Indiana goes into Ohio State and wins that game, yeah, mad respect to them.
yeah.
I think their luck runs out tomorrow, me personally.
I mean, do I think they're going to win? There's a chance,
Oh yeah,
but
there's definitely a
I
chance.
I feel like 13.5 is too much for Ohio State to cover.
Okay, that's why you pick Indiana then.
Yeah.
I got you.
And to piggyback that a little bit, not only do I think 13.5 is too much for Ohio State to cover, because the only other big game that Ohio State's played this season, their
It's Penn State.
quarterback lost for them.
Well, he made a bunch of good plays in there too. I mean, yeah, he made a boneheaded play at the end that sealed it, but he made some good plays, and that was a tough game in it. If I'm not mistaken, that was on the road too.
It was. It was on the road, so
And
there was
Oregon's not an easy place to play either.
no. But see, if Ohio State's the cream of the crop in the Big Ten, they win that game. I don't think that they are that this season. And this isn't, yeah, you can have a $20 million roster, but I think tomorrow we find out how much money can buy you these days.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, you saying if they're the cream of the crop, they should win that game. Well, is Georgia the cream of the crop of the SEC in your opinion?
Mhm.
Yeah, we just have a substantially harder schedule than Ohio State.
Well, then by
Right.
that reasoning, we should have beaten Alabama and Ole Miss.
We should have,
Yeah, we didn't.
but yeah, we didn't. So that's what I'm
Huh?
saying. Like, Ohio State was favored and should have won the game and didn't. So guess they're not, at least to this point, the cream of the crop in the Big Ten.
Well, it'll all play itself out on the field tomorrow, and then depending on who wins, who makes the Big Ten championship and all that, it'll get settled.
I actually I actually hope that Indiana wins the game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I kind of agree with that point. If Indiana wins, yeah, they're undefeated and they're going to the Big Ten championship, and they'll be facing Oregon, which will be another big test for them. And so, um, you know, and if Ohio State loses at home, that's their second loss.
Okay.
I mean, they lose to Oregon, they lose to Indiana. And the only game they got left is Michigan, and Lord forbid if Michigan beats them again. I mean,
Which
it'd
could
be a it'd
happen.
be a bad way for the Buckeyes at the end of the season, that's for sure.
I
Yeah.
would love it.
And
I
it'd
would
be
love it.
questionable whether or not they make the playoff if they lose this game. Who knows? They probably will still, even with two losses, but you never know. We're getting a backlog of two-loss teams stacking up now.
Yep.
So
Hmm.
it'll be interesting to see how they all weigh out when it's all
There's
said
hard,
and done in a couple of
and
weeks.
there's hardly any one-loss teams, and there's hardly any undefeated. I think there's what two left undefeated. Ohio State and or no, Indiana and Oregon.
And
Those are the
Army.
last two. Army. That's right. Army. And they face Notre Dame this weekend.
Go Golden Knights, baby.
Go Army.
Be all you can be, baby.
Hmm. Hoorah.
All right. So then the next game on the list, Ole Miss traveling down to the swamp to face the Gators, and Ole Miss favored by 10.5. That's going to be a very interesting game if I have to guess. I think that's going to be one of the better games this weekend, if I'm thinking.
I think so too.
Because Florida's figured some things out. I can admit that. And their quarterback is really good, even though he's not 100% healthy still, I don't think. Hopefully, you know. Um, but as you can see, I still think Ole Miss is going to win it going away. I just think they've got too much for Florida to answer on offense and defense. Um, with Florida's quarterback still being hobbled, you saw what Ole Miss's defense can do to a quarterback when we faced them. How many times did they sack us? Like 5, 6 times that night.
Hmm.
I think Florida may end up seeing a lot of similar things. So
Too many.
I picked Ole Miss to give up those points and cover. But I still think it's gonna be a fun, entertaining game to watch.
That's a lot of points to give up at the swamp. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't come out of the swamp with a victory, no matter how Florida is
There's
doing.
already been people that came out of the swamp with victories besides Florida this season.
Okay, and who were they?
I'll look that up. Just tell me how you think this is going to go tomorrow.
I think Florida's going to win the game.
You think Florida's going to win the game outright?
Yeah,
Oh, Lord.
yeah. Their quarterback's back. They
Well,
can be,
there's a prediction for you.
yeah. Their quarterback's back. He's getting healthy. He can hit the deep ball, which you got to be able to do against Ole Miss's corners. Georgia couldn't do it. So, um, and he gets the ball out pretty quick, and you got to be able to do that against the D line. Um, I don't know. It's a noon game at the Swamp. I'll take my chances. I'm pretty confident Florida covers, but I would not be surprised if they win the game.
All right, Miami went to the swamp and beat them earlier. That was one of the first games of the season, right?
I think that was like their second or third.
No, it was their first game. I believe is one of. I'm looking at the schedule. It was their very first game, and then Texas A&M went down there and beat them. And both of them, Miami won 41-17. Texas A&M won 33-20. Um, so yeah, they've already lost 2 home games this season.
And those were earlier in the season when they didn't have as much figured out, like you said. And they're
Oh yeah,
a
I mean
much
Florida's
different
definitely
team.
playing better now than what they were. That's without a doubt. So, but I still think Ole Miss just has too much for them. But you guys obviously disagree with that because you both
Yeah.
picked the Gators.
I kind of piggyback Micah.
Okay. You think Florida's going to win outright?
Yeah.
And that eliminates Ole Miss if that happens from everything. So that would be a huge, huge upset if that happens. And I would be totally amazed if I see that happen tomorrow.
The
Then
only
we're
reason
moving
why I
on.
say that is because it helps Georgia. So
Yeah, I mean we've got to be quasi Florida fans and Auburn fans over the next couple of
hmm
weeks,
hmm
to help Georgia as much as possible. But then the next game, Alabama, favored by 13.5, traveling to Oklahoma. All of us, Alabama sweep. That's usually the kiss of death on these games.
not this
Yeah,
one.
I don't know. It's in Oklahoma.
Stop.
It's in Oklahoma.
Freaking South Carolina destroyed Oklahoma. Come on now. At Oklahoma.
Yeah, South Carolina, some people would argue, is playing better
This
than
is
anybody else.
Alabama. It's Alabama we're talking about. Going to Oklahoma? Are you kidding me?
Okay. All right.
Stop it.
Hey, I agreed with you. We all picked Alabama. I'm just saying, stranger things have happened.
I mean, this could be a shootout, but as long as Alabama wins it by 14, we're right.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, ex
I
exactly.
don't think it's going to be a shootout. I just hope Alabama doesn't think they can sleepwalk through it like Mike, I mean, like Matthew thinks they can, because then it
I'm
will
not
get
that
interesting and they won't cover.
I don't think it's gonna be a cakewalk for them, but I mean it's gonna be one of the easier games for them.
Okay, we'll find out tomorrow. We will find out tomorrow. So, all of us on the Alabama bandwagon tomorrow. But if we're honest, it really helps Georgia's interest out if Oklahoma wins that game.
Yes.
Yeah, but too much. The reason why I went Alabama is just too much Milrow tomorrow. I can just see him running all over the place on them. So,
He's gonna
It's
have
possible.
4 rush TDs tomorrow.
4.
4. Write it
Okay.
down.
Okay. You write it down if you know how to
Nope.
write it down.
No, I don't.
So then
I'm illiterate.
Texas at home hosting the Kentucky Wildcats. Big number here. Big number. 20.5 points for an SEC game.
Mm-mm.
And Matthew goes with the Wildcats. What in the world gives you confidence that Kentucky is going to stay within 20 points of
That's too many
Texas?
points. That's too
Too
many
many
points to be
points.
favored. So I
I
think
will
it's gonna
say
be
this,
within 20.
the only reason I thought about going that way with this is because I think both Texas and Texas A&M are going to get caught looking ahead to next weekend when they're playing each other. So they're not going to
Mm-hmm.
be totally focused on Kentucky and Auburn. They're ready
Mm-hmm.
because they haven't played each other, if I'm not mistaken, since Texas A&M joined the SEC, like they normally
Right.
do at the end of the year, like they were doing when they were both in the Big 12.
Yep.
This was their main rival game at the end of the season. And so it's, that game next week is going to be off the chain against
Yep.
Texas A&M, but this week they got Kentucky and Auburn, and I almost went that route with picking Kentucky in the points because it's a lot of points. Because Texas may just be thinking, oh, we'll get through this, we'll walk through this, and
It's
snooze
just
fest
another
through this
practice.
and get on to next weekend when it really matters. And I've watched enough Kentucky games to know those are the ones that they can
Strive
shine
for.
in. I mean, because they're a tough physical game team. They took
Their coach is Coach Stoops, right?
mhm.
Yeah, he likes games like this, so that's why I picked Kentucky.
I mean,
He
both of these
That's his
games
bread and butter.
are ultimate trap games, if you ask me.
Yeah, for sure.
They
Texas
are,
A&M
but
should not
But
sleep.
I think Texas is good enough where they're going to handle business, especially at home. Now, if it was at Kentucky, I definitely would have taken Kentucky. But it's a home game for Texas.
look, listen to this. Since Kentucky beat Ole Miss, which I called and got right, they've lost to Vanderbilt, Florida, Auburn, and Tennessee, and they've beaten Murray State. Thank God they've been able to play Murray State. Otherwise, they'd be 0 and 5. So nobody's been worse than Kentucky lately. So I don't think 20 and a half's enough. I think this is going to get ugly real fast. So
Well, if Texas is cooking on offense, I think you're right. I think it will get ugly pretty fast. But like I said, it's just a matter of whether or not they come out and they think, okay, we got to take care of today. We're focused on today and taking care of this game, and we'll worry about next week, next week. But you should be able to tell pretty quickly in that game which way it is. But
Mm.
even if they come out a little sluggish at first, I think if they can flip the switch, once they do that, they should handle their business pretty well. So, and then that sort of feeds into, um, it's funny, sort of feeds into the next game on the list, Texas A&M favored by 2.5, traveling to Auburn.
What's your spiel, mister?
Well, that exact point I've been making about this. This is the ultimate trap game. And I know that going to Auburn is never easy. I've watched too many highly ranked Alabama teams, too many highly ranked Georgia teams, all, and Texas A&M is a highly ranked opponent going in there. And if they're worried about facing, top two or three, whatever they're going to be next week, Texas, for the first time in a decade, I can see Auburn pulling a stunner and actually winning the game outright tomorrow. So that,
Hugh Freeze likes games like this too.
but you guys both took A&M.
I
well,
did.
to your point, Dad, it is a night game at Auburn, so it's even harder. That place is going to be
Mhm.
nuts.
Should
Um,
be.
but the
Hopefully.
reason why I didn't pick Auburn is because I think Auburn has a little bit of what you were saying about Texas and Texas A&M looking forward to each other. Auburn's looking forward. They want to spoil Alabama's season next week.
Alabama, I mean, I think Auburn wants to spoil everybody's season at this point because theirs has been so rotten all along. That's
Mm.
Well,
about all they have left to play for is they know they can ruin Texas A&M,
that's true.
and they can ruin Alabama's season by beating them next week. So I think
Well,
that's about all they have left to play for, really.
Yeah.
all they've got to do is do win one of those to get bowl eligible, right?
That's a good question.
They're
Very
four
good.
and they're 4 and 6. Some 5 and 7 teams get bowl eligible. But if they
If
somehow
there's
were
not enough teams to fill those
Right.
slots, then yeah.
so you're saying there's a chance, and if they somehow miraculously pulled off both, they would be bowl eligible, which
For
would be
sure.
insane.
So
Yeah.
No, but I went with Texas A&M because Texas A&M just got embarrassed at South Carolina recently, so I don't think that they get embarrassed by an inferior opponent 2 times this year because
well,
You never
I'm just of
know.
the concern that both that they're going to be, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I heard a clip of their coach, and they're completely focused on Texas. I mean Auburn. He said it just like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've seen that. That was funny.
So in his press conference, I was like, "Oh boy,
Yeah,
Here
that's
here
we
we
not
go.
good.
go." So we'll see. We'll see how it plays.
Matthew, do you have anything to add to that, or just
I mean, I think with this game, um, it will definitely be the bounce back game for Texas A&M. After getting what was done to them last week, I think this will be a wake up call game, and they will fire on all cylinders. I think.
okay? Well, on to LSU and Vandy, and again, what could be a kiss of death. We all picked Vandy. Dadgummit.
Hey,
I think that's just all of us losing total faith in LSU after they lost to Florida last week.
they are in a blender right now. I mean, whew, it's pretty insane. They're on a 3 game losing streak. So
LSU is at home. That's I think LSU is going to win the game.
Hmm.
I think it'll be funny as crap if Vandy does win the game in LSU, though.
they
But
will.
I just don't. I don't know. I just think Vandy makes enough plays to keep it close to where they don't lose by a touchdown.
Vandy wins by 10. Write it down.
You write it down.
I'm illiterate. I can't.
And I mean, to me, that whole pick is based on how effective and I mean how healthy um, Vandy's quarterback is. As seems like I remember the last game they played, he got hurt. He was hobbling around pretty good.
Yeah, and that could make the difference. So that's what makes me nervous. I was this close to taking LSU at home for that reason, and because LSU may just decide to wake up and be tired of losing. I don't know. It's not looking good, but maybe they will.
They haven't done it in the last 3 games. So Vandy has got
Who they
them on
lost
their
to the last three
vulnerable.
games?
Texas A&M, Florida, and Alabama.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Or well, in order was Texas A&M, then destroyed by Alabama at
Yeah,
home.
Alabama went to LSU and just opened a can on them.
Yeah, whole can
I
of
think
whoop
I
ass.
think they opened two cans actually.
Mm.
They
Four
didn't
cans.
they didn't just it just wasn't good enough just to open one. They got two.
No, four, because
One for both cheeks.
Milrow was Milrowing
Hmm.
that game, and then last week against the Gay
Florida.
Turds.
Florida. Florida got
Hmm.
them one, and now they're
So
riding sky high enough to where you both picked them against Ole Miss. Y'all
I
drink the Kool-Aid.
I water sucks.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
I think Vandy's got them where they want them. Really, LSU is pretty vulnerable right now, and are definitely going to be playing desperate, especially Nussmeyer. He's going to be playing desperate.
Maybe so, or he and the team just folds. I mean, that could also be, and they just mail it
Yeah,
in because their season's over essentially.
yeah.
They'll get a
They'll play up.
Gator Bowl or something, but they're not gonna get the playoff.
Nah,
So
they'll get the Tax Slayer Bowl.
whichever
They need to do their taxes.
whichever crap bowl you want to give them, just give them
Hmm.
one.
They should have a bowl called the Toilet Bowl.
And it should be sponsored by a plumbing company. There you go. Plumbing companies out there. You need
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah,
sponsor a bowl.
Toilet Bowl. Or all the plumbing companies pitch in together and sponsor the bowl. Call it the Toilet Bowl.
Making deals on here.
Hey, I get some equity out of that.
I'd take some too. Well, so this week's kind of we did probably the seven best games on the slate because there's some other ones that are just not good.
I, I would like to see Notre Dame Army. I probably should have said that, but it's all right.
I don't know. Navy was
Hopefully,
undefeated
hopefully
too.
Army does us all a favor and beats Notre Dame, and that'll end their,
Hmm.
take them out of question when it comes to the playoff spots and stuff
Please,
like that. If not Army, then
please.
maybe USC will take care of business against them.
USC gets them at home.
Hmm.
Nah, 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 nah.
It could happen.
Hmm.
Not USC.
Travel across the country. That's a big rivalry game. It could happen.
Oh, they are going coast to coast.
Hmm.
Dang,
So,
I forgot about that. No, I don't know.
well, we'll talk about some of these rivalry games next week. I guess we might have to adjust our schedule next week because there's going to be games starting like Thursday. We're going to have to talk about that
Georgia,
off when we get off the live stream.
Georgia plays Friday.
Yeah, we're going to have games Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we're going to have to discuss that. May have to do this like on Wednesday or something.
Yeah, maybe so. And even, we can make it happen. So we'll talk about it. But that wraps it up for tonight. And that brings me to my next point. So if we do end up popping up on Wednesday, which we will give you a fair warning Sunday when we do
No, we'll
our
just do it.
we'll
That's
say,
why you got to
hey,
have notifications on so you know.
yeah, I like that. Definitely turn on notifications so that you can know whether you see our Sunday show or not. But in order to see the Sunday show, let's subscribe, turn on notifications now, and let's share with 5 or 10 of your friends so that y'all can talk about it. If y'all are talking about it, you got to stay up to date. Otherwise, somebody's going to spoil something for you. Say, hey, did you see the most recent episode? Oh, maybe, maybe not. So
I
that's
got one of my coworkers to subscribe.
Aren't you just bomb?
Hmm.
we'll shout him out. Who was it?
His name is Danny.
Hey, Danny, how's it going, buddy?
Thanks for subscribing, Danny. We appreciate it. Um, share it with 5 or 10 of your friends, Danny. And if y'all like
Yeah,
what we're doing, as always, give us a like, and we'd like to see some more comments. Any questions you have, or give your score predictions, or say y'all suck, or you're stupid, or whatever. Anything's better than nothing. We'll take it all.
I don't want you suck or you're stupid.
Well, you can't handle that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
But
I
you
think.
put if you're watching or whatever and type in your picks for the week on the game, on the
Based
games
off
we're
what we
picking.
picked.
Yeah, on the games we're picking, you participate and play along. Put them
Yep,
out there for the world to see and see how you do on them.
yep. That's another good way to interact with the show. So we appreciate it. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight. And if you tune in the future, thank you. We really appreciate it. We have a lot of fun doing this. So we will continue to do so. And everybody go have a wonderful Friday night and enjoy the slate of games tomorrow. And as always,
Go
go dog.
dogs! Go dogs!
Go
Ho,
dogs.
ho, ho, ho.